Alrighty, spawning over here in the top right position as the red Zerg player, ladies and gentlemen. His older brother unfortunately bowed out of the tournament a little bit earlier on. What can the younger one do? Of course, this is Dario spawning in the top right, Liquid TLO. And his opponent spawning in the bottom left of GSL fame, one of Liquid's newest recruits. What will he be able to do here on Cloud Kingdom? Teammates facing off. It is Liquid HerO. Both of these guys here battling very hard through the tournament, getting through to the second round, but now in a precarious position where they definitely need to win this best of three. Either of these guys could really go through. I think a lot of people would say that HerO is probably the favorite going into this matchup, but I also think TLO is good enough that as long as he's on a decent day, he can probably take games off of anyone, and we've seen our fair share of upsets in this tournament so far already. HerO just going to be a little bit annoying with the probe, trying to force a couple of drones to attack, and the spawning pool is now going to go down. As now we got the probe actually taking a little bit of minerals, so going to be forcing TLO to attack him there. And the spawning pool is going to finish that business off very, very shortly indeed, as HerO continues to chrono boost probes. I wonder if he's considering going for a Nexus first, or if he's just going to end up coming back and putting down a Forge before the Nexus. He is going all the way up to 400 though, so I think the Nexus is indeed going to go down for HerO before the Forge. Bam, there we go. And the Overlord from TLO now going to be popping on to the screen here. We'll see shortly that the Forge is going down after the Nexus was placed. TLO now going to be finishing up his pool, grabbing his queen as well instantly, opting not to get any lings just yet. I would like to see a couple, but actually he's just going straight for the third base, so that would be the reason why. He doesn't really want to bother with being blocked at the natural expansion. All he simply wants to do is get that expand down as quickly as he possibly can. And here we go, a surround from the drones of TLO, but unfortunately the probe of HerO is able to get away. A nice move there from Dario, but unable to make it stick. We have got the Forge now, Gateway, and the Photon Cannon going down at the natural expansion, leaving the cannon very late, but able to get away with it on this occasion because we don't have any Zerglings moving out across the map to try and harass the main base. These guys, of course, are teammates. They practice together a fair amount as well, so it's not necessary for them to attempt to trick each other because they probably know each other's builds very, very well indeed, and as a result, this is likely going to be a straight-up fight between these two in a macro game. I suspect we're not going to be seeing too much cheese coming out of either of these players. I'm sure they want the better player in the tournament to go on and go as far into the bracket as possible, maybe even win it. We'll have to wait and see. We've got a drone popping out now towards the third base of TLO. Going to be starting to mine minerals there. Don't forget this hatchery was taken earlier than his natural expansion, and all is looking well. He is going to be looking to get queens up, to get creep spread between his bases, and also get as many drones as possible onto all of his hatcheries before he starts thinking about taking gas and teching. He wants to leave getting that army and making those units as long as possible so that he can get that very, very strong economy up and prepare for the late game. In the meantime, HerO just wants to make sure he's nice and stable at this point of the game. He has the Photon Cannon up to try and discourage any lings from running in. He wants to get as many probes as he can on these two bases with enough gas to tech up and start to form that Protoss death ball that is always so absolutely effective in the late game. It looks like we have a Zealot trying to pick apart the Zerglings there, but they are undeterred and they might actually get this probe moving up the ramp now, but the probe actually regenerates shield, and it's going to be so close. One hit point, and yes, the probe manages to make it home. HerO probe, ladies and gentlemen, going to be rejoining those of his master back at the natural expansion, going to be able to settle into retirement, knowing that he has done his job very well indeed. In the meantime, we have a Roach Warren going down now for TLO, and a robotics facility coming down for HerO as well. So it looks like both players opting to tech up at this moment in time. We could be seeing some immortals out of HerO. That would not be uncharacteristic here, especially against pretty typical Roach play in ZVP. Immortals very, very good against Roaches. And we see now the Queen actually moving some creep, interestingly, away from his third base. And I'm guessing the reason for that is because once TLO injects at his natural expansion, he'll start spreading creep in this direction towards his third base. So realistically, he wants to get the creep as far outwards of his base as possible, and I'm guessing that's why he's spreading it in this direction. Also, he's able to see any sneaky forward pylons there should any decide to pop out if some zealots decide to warp in, for example. We now have a whole bunch of lings moving in towards the natural expansion, but they probably don't want to be trying to breach this front right now. Just going to be checking out what the army is like, sees that there's at least a sentry there. And that's about as much information as TLO realistically needs right now. It looks like HerO's gone up to all 4 of his gas geysers, and TLO has finally decided to start with 4 of his own as well, getting 2 in the main base and an additional 2 at the natural, as well as a macro hatchery at his natural expansion. So this is possibly indicative of a timing attack. Double Evo chambers might even suggest a 1-1 timing because the layer is about to finish as well. So we could be going for a little bit of a Roach timing here in game number 1 from TLO. Now, of course, that said, it's entirely possible that he simply transitions into something else very, very naturally indeed. But that option is potentially open to him at this point. And it looks like, oh, Nexus getting denied there and the probe going down, and a lot of sentries actually getting surrounded here from HerO. That was a nice little attack from TLO and forcing those sentries to use a fair amount of energy, blocking the Nexus from going down as well. So TLO knows that HerO is trying to take his third base. In the meantime, TLO simultaneously going for his fourth, but we have a Warp Prism with 4 Zealots here, and it looks like it's ignoring the fourth base altogether and going into the main, but TLO sees this Warp Prism via the Creep Tumors, so I highly doubt it's going to be able to do too much, and we have these links here unfortunately being neglected from TLO. These Zealots are going to rip them absolutely to shreds as the Warp Prism gets into the main. A Queen already in place to try and knock it down. We have a couple of Roaches here as well, and it looks like the Zealots are getting dropped, and the Queen trying her best to take apart the Warp Prism, but unable to do so, sadly. We have Zealots now being dropped into the third base location. And they're going to be able to drive all of those drones away as well. And in the meantime, TLO is actually moving Roaches down to the southern position of the map. So he's not actually defending with that much at the moment. Note that there are only 2 Roaches here trying to get these Zealots to move away, which is a little bit surprising. That's because the rest of his army is down here, possibly looking for a flank against the third base of HerO. But HerO is now streaming units in towards the fourth base of TLO, and this hatchery potentially is under threat. He's got a lot more Roaches now instead of those 2 initially there, but unfortunately, ooh, trapping, oh, only 1 Roach there with those 4 force fields. HerO is going to be able to overpower this small group of Roaches, which is why TLO is going for the counterattack. It looks like he's taken out the Photon Cannon and the Pylon. He's just going to leave a couple of Lings to deal with that. I love that decision. And the rest of his army is going into the natural. This is a great decision from TLO here. And the fourth base of his, by the way, is being targeted down and does get destroyed by this Protoss army. But TLO completely taking out the Immortal in the natural expansion, and HerO potentially having to pull probes here. Another Immortal comes out, but a couple of shots from the Roaches means it is dead, and now his natural expansion is under siege. HerO is in a little bit of trouble here, but he is continuing the attack against TLO, but TLO coming in with reinforcement Roaches, killing off the sentries, trying to stop the hatch from going down with some transfuses, unable to do so. So 2 hatcheries down for TLO. Meanwhile, the Roaches finally do get cleaned up. It doesn't look like they were actually targeting the probes very well. How many workers have been killed? 16 for TLO at the moment, so not bad actually. And it looks like the third Nexus is going to go down as well. So 2 hatcheries getting taken down, plus a Nexus, and a lot of Immortals got taken out in that attack from TLO as well. That is oh so important. Those Immortals can do so much damage to Roaches, especially when left in the back of an army, and the sentries are able to force field the front so that the Immortals are untargetable. Sadly, though, that was not the case, and those Roaches just marched straight on in. And is TLO going to be getting this upgrade? There are 5 seconds until +2 finishes, and no, it is going to finish. That would have been such a huge blow to HerO in his defense here. TLO going to come back and take apart the forge now, but it's no longer upgrading anything, so it's nowhere near as important as it was before. Still going to be slightly annoying, though. And we have got a forward pylon down here getting taken out here from HerO, but the probe does manage to escape, and he might be putting another one down very, very soon indeed. More good force fields coming out from HerO, but his sentries are starting to run out of energy here, and TLO is coming close to a point where he might consider just moving in with the Roaches and sniping out as much stuff as he can. That's exactly what he's going to do now. Are the Immortals going to go down? We see a lot of Overlords here. I wonder if he's going for drop play. He is. Vengeful Sack's actually on the way, so TLO is going to be following this up with Roach drops from the third, which is why he's actually moving pulling back at the moment. He needs to make sure that HerO doesn't see these overlords, so he probably wants to suicide these roaches if the army continues to follow him. Needs to be a little bit careful. A still immortal actually going to be following these roaches, and they need to move in and attack. Okay, there we go. A decent number of links now. Going to be surrounding that immortal. That immortal is definitely going down. Nice little pick off there from TLO, and so far he's been playing this game against HerO quite well indeed. Another small group of roaches going to try and sneak into the natural. No force field to keep most of them out. We do get one, but 3 roaches able to pop in to the drone probe line rather, and I'd love to see a couple of them take out, but it looks like some blink stalkers are going to say no to that. So we'll wait and see. Vengeful Sacs are on the way, and Pneumatized Carapace on the way as well, but it's going to take a little while before those overlords become fast overlords, and I wonder if HerO is going to be able to spot these overlords down here in the southern position. Oh, so unbelievably close there. TLO should probably stop sending 2 or 3 units in from the right-hand side, because that might prompt HerO to maybe scout around a little bit, and TLO does not want HerO to spot those overlords right now, especially while they are still slow overlords, but I think he's going to get away with it. In the meantime, we have an observer in the main base of TLO, so he sees everything that is going on here, but layer, infestation pit, everything looks relatively normal. Pneumatized Carapace finishing in 8 seconds time. This is going to be TLO's play of the game. And oh no, this is what we were talking about. He sees a lot of slow overlords. They just became quick overlords, but 2 of them go down immediately, and this is not what TLO wanted. I think HerO's going to be able to blink back into the main base at least a little bit. So 3 overlords worth of units are going to get in here, but the army from HerO is going to completely and utterly overwhelm. But TLO with reinforcements moving into the 3rd base location. There are actually a lot of immortals here, but TLO coming in with a decent number of links and infestors as well. Those infested terrors providing so much DPS in this army. Will all of the immortals actually disappear here? Only overlords left in the main base. Of course, those stalkers able to completely take everything else apart, and TLO is having to back down. He is currently at 151 supply to 103. HerO holding on with those +2 immortals. The work supply is currently 60 for TLO and 55 for HerO. TLO going to be picking up the watchtower in the center of the map, but of course HerO with an observer there sees absolutely everything as it currently stands. This overlord may want to become an overseer once TLO decides to move out with this army, just to pick off any observers that are along the way, and potentially deny some vision to blink stalkers as well, which can be so effective. More immortals now being popped out from HerO. He actually has +3 attack on the way as well, so really maximizing the amount of damage he can do with this army. And the reason this is pretty good is simply because he can come in and blink, and that's really such a useful skill to have. The overlords moving back in for TLO, but that was a little bit of a fake move, and it doesn't look like HerO has bought it as TLO moves straight into the 3rd base location. But my god, look at the number of immortals here. Decent force fields as well, zoning out a lot of those roaches, and this is just a really nice engagement for HerO. TLO definitely has to back out here. Look at the number of immortals. 11 kills, 15 kills, 3 kills, 7 kills, and okay, 0 on the last one, so he's still learning the ropes just a little bit, but +3 immortals and +3 blink stalkers. That's a lot of DPS in this Protoss army, and TLO, he's going to have to come up with just a slightly different strategy. He probably wants a little bit more energy on those infestors at this moment in time, so that he can safely go in and maybe fungal the blink stalkers and get some more lings in with his army, because those immortals do so much extra damage to the roaches. And now it looks like both sides are posturing in the center of the map, looking for that magical engagement that will possibly win them the game. HerO on 148 supply at the moment. TLO at 187. Going to be taking control of the watchtower here. And it looks like HerO has decided his target. He is probably going to hit and run at this 4th base. TLO getting in position to counter this army. Is HerO going to stake around? No. In fact, he moves out. A nice concave there from HerO and a good blink back, but a lot of fungal growths on the immortals there. A lot of them don't have their shields left, and it looks like the immortals are going down. But look at the stalkers. There are so many of them left out on the field. There are 21 stalkers here. Even if TLO takes out every single immortal, and he doesn't quite manage that, still one. Never mind, I eat my words. He's taken out every single one. But HerO has 24 stalkers out on the field, and TLO only has a bunch of roaches that are not enough to rival these stalkers, and some infestors, but infestors alone will not help here, and he's using all of his energy at the moment on infested Terrans. This is not going to be that great for him, because HerO is just able to power through those no problemo. Currently sitting very solidly on 3 base, although the main base has been mined out, and now we have a lot of, oh, actually not that many infested Terrans popping out. There we go, a couple more popping out a little bit later, and HerO currently is focusing down the roaches and blinking back when the stalkers have no shields. This is a really good engagement for HerO, who has now evened out the supply, and he's actually taken a small supply lead, 129 to 125, and he's moving into the 3rd base of TLO. Has TLO given this game away? Is this the point of no return? HerO going to be continuing the smack against the third TLO, going for a counterattack with Lings, but there are 4 photon cannons at this base. HerO just covering himself so well against counterattacks from TLO at this point, and there really isn't too much he can do right now. HerO's actually doing the smart thing and backing out just in case TLO gets a really nice engagement from behind or something like that, because he knows the Lings have disappeared from the third base location. It looks like the Lings have decided to go back, but it's not going to matter. GG, ladies and gentlemen, and Liquid HerO takes a 1-0 lead in this unfortunate team kill situation at the Dreamhack ISO Open.